These 6 AI video clips were generated completely separately. Different prompts, different generations, no shared first frame. But when I put them together, they still felt like one video. And what made this work wasn't a better video model. It was how I structured the story before generating anything. In this video, I'll show you the exact workflow I used to turn one script into consistent 10-second AI video chapters using ChatGPT, Google Flow, Gemini TTS, and CapCut. The workflow is actually pretty simple. I'm using 4 tools. First, ChatGPT Projects to analyze the script, break it into 10-second chapters, and create the prompts. Second, Google Flow with the Omni model to generate each video clip. Third, Google AI Studio with Gemini Flash 3.1 TTS to create the full voiceover. And finally, CapCut to put everything together. So the pipeline looks like this. 1 script, 10-second chapters, individual AI videos, 1 voiceover, then 1 final edit. But the most important part happens before we generate anything. First, I open ChatGPT and create a new project. Inside that project, I add a workflow that I built specifically for this process. I call it the AI Narrative Video Workflow. The idea is simple. I don't want to explain the same production rules every time I make a video. So instead, the project already knows how I want the script analyzed. It knows that the video model works best in short sections. It knows that every chapter should be around 10 seconds. And it knows that those chapters still need to feel like one continuous story. The project also stores the visual rules, things like color, materials, lighting, camera language, recurring characters, and recurring visual motifs. So instead of starting from 0 every single time, I can just give it a new script. Now this part is important. I don't immediately ask ChatGPT to create video prompts. First, I simply tell ChatGPT, read this workflow and wait for my script. Then I paste in the full voiceover. For this test, I used a 60-second story tracing ChatGPT from its 2022 research preview to AI agents in 2026. And instead of saying, make me 6 video prompts, I asked ChatGPT to analyze the complete story first. Then it breaks the narration into approximately 10-second beats. So I get something like, Chapter 1, from research preview to 1 billion users. Chapter 2, ChatGPT makes AI conversational. Chapter 3, GPT-4 expands what ChatGPT can understand. Chapter 4, multimodal AI and stronger reasoning. Chapter 5, ChatGPT starts doing the work. And Chapter 6, from answering to understanding to acting. This sounds like a small difference, but it's actually one of the most important parts of the workflow. Because if you just cut a script every 10 seconds mechanically, you can easily destroy the story. Each chapter needs its own visual purpose, but it also needs to push the same story forward. And this is where the workflow gets more interesting. Before it creates any prompts, ChatGPT also defines what I call the global visual DNA. Think of it as the design system for the entire video. I actually built 2 visual presets into the workflow. The first is a handmade paper-cut cinema style, which works really well for stories and cinematic summaries. The second is a darker editorial paper style designed for AI, technology, and timeline videos. For this ChatGPT evolution project, it automatically chose the second one. So across all 6 chapters, the same basic visual rules keep coming back. Dark backgrounds, aged paper, cyan AI accents, recurring characters, and the same mechanical papercraft language. I'm not trying to make every shot identical. I'm trying to make every shot feel like it belongs to the same visual world. I call that controlled visual evolution. The visuals can change. They just shouldn't feel random. Once ChatGPT gives me the beat map, I review it. And only after I'm happy with the structure do I move to the next step. This is another rule I added to the workflow. Don't generate all the final prompts immediately. First, approve the story structure. Because changing a 10-second beat now is easy. Changing it after you've generated 6 videos is expensive. Once the beat map looks good, I tell ChatGPT to start creating the JSON prompts. Each chapter gets its own complete prompt. concept, camera direction, visual style, characters, environment, props, and a storyboard for what should happen during those 10 seconds. The important part is that each JSON is completely standalone. Each chapter prompt is self-contained, so the video model doesn't need any context from the previous chapter. All the important visual rules are repeated inside every prompt. Now I move over to Google Flow. I select the Omni video model, then I copy the JSON prompt for chapter 1 and paste it in, and hit generate. Once that clip is done, I move to chapter 2. Copy, paste, generate, then chapter 3, and I repeat the same process until all 6 sections are complete. This is where having the reusable ChatGPT workflow saves a lot of time. I'm not redesigning the art direction for every generation. I'm not rewriting the camera instructions. And I'm not trying to remember which colors I used 3 clips ago. That information is already inside every chapter prompt, so the generation process becomes pretty mechanical. Generate. Check the result. Move to the next chapter. Now, this is the part I was most curious about. Remember, these 6 clips were generated separately. No shared first frame, no master reference image, just the visual rules repeated inside each prompt. So I honestly expected the style to drift a lot more, but it didn't. The scenes definitely changed. The central AI object evolved from one chapter to the next, and some shots became more complex than others. But look at what stayed consistent. The dark charcoal background, the aged paper materials, the cyan AI accent, the timeline, the human figures, and the same miniature mechanical papercraft language. So the model wasn't reproducing the exact same scene, it was doing something more useful. It was keeping the same visual system while allowing the story to evolve. That's what I mean by controlled visual evolution. And for 6 completely separate prompt-only generations, that's a pretty strong result. Next, I generate the narration separately. For this, I use Google AI Studio and Gemini Flash 3.1 TTS. I paste in the original full script, not 6 separate versions. That gives me one narrator, one pacing style, and one continuous performance. The video model handles the visuals. TTS handles the voice. Keeping those jobs separate gives me much more control. And if I want to change the voice later, I don't need to regenerate any video. Once the voiceover sounds right, I export the audio. Now I open CapCut. The first thing I add to the timeline is the full voiceover. That becomes the backbone of the entire edit. Then I place chapter 1 underneath the first section of narration, chapter 2 under the next section, then 3, 4, 5, and 6. At this point, the job is mostly timing. Trim a little here, move a clip slightly there, hold a strong frame for a few extra moments if needed. And because the voiceover was created separately, I don't need every generated clip to be exactly 10 seconds in the final edit. If one narration section is 9 seconds, I trim the visual. If another section runs a little longer, I can hold the final frame, slow the shot slightly, or bridge into the next visual. The audio controls the pacing, not the raw generation length. And I actually don't use complicated transitions here. Most of the time, a hard cut works better, especially with this handmade paper style. Sometimes I'll add a small paper flip sound, a mechanical click, a soft interface confirmation, or a paper snap. That makes the visual change feel intentional, almost like turning to the next page of the story. You don't need a giant transition effect between every generation. In fact, that usually makes the edit feel more artificial. And once everything is lined up, this is the result.
4 years ago, ChatGPT was just a research preview. Today, 1 billion people use it every week. But the real story is what it became. In November 2022, ChatGPT made AI conversational. Ask a question, follow up, correct it. Suddenly, powerful AI felt usable by almost anyone. Then, GPT-4 arrived. Reasoning improved, images became understandable, and ChatGPT started evolving beyond a chatbot that could simply generate text. In 2024, GPT-4o connected text, vision, and voice in real time. Then, o1 introduced something different, AI that could think before answering. By 2028, ChatGPT started doing more than answering. Deep research could investigate the web. Agent mode could actually complete multi-step tasks. By 2026, GPT-5 brought reasoning, tools, and faster responses together. By 2026, the direction was clear. ChatGPT first answered, then understood. Now it acts.
What I like about this approach is that the scenes are allowed to evolve, but they still share enough visual DNA that the final video feels designed. Not perfect, but coherent. Oh, if you want to try this workflow yourself, there are 3 things I would focus on. First, analyze the whole story before splitting it. Don't treat every 10 seconds like a completely separate idea. Second, repeat the visual DNA. Colors, materials, lighting, characters, camera language, recurring objects. You don't need every shot to be identical. You just need enough visual anchors to keep the world connected. And third, separate the jobs. ChatGPT handles the structure and prompts. The video model handles the visuals. TTS handles the narration. And the editor handles timing. That gives you much more control than trying to make one AI model do everything. And there is one more version of this workflow that I'm testing. Instead of relying only on text prompts, I'm adding a master visual reference that every chapter can share. The idea is to see whether one shared visual reference can push the consistency even further, so I'll probably test that in a separate video. But for now, this prompt-only version is simple, fast, and surprisingly usable. If you want the full workflow template, check the description. And if you want to see me test the visual reference version next, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.